I'll call a meeting to order. Planning Commission, Thursday, September 11th, 2025. Carol, would you please call the roll?
Here.
Present. Present. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. And this is the point where anybody who wants to move it, anybody that wants to move.
Like watching a football game, you know you're going to score a touchdown.
Okay, so at this point, anybody who wants to move around items on the agenda, this would be the time to do it. And if nobody's interested in doing that, then I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written. Second. We have a motion second to approve the agenda as written without any changes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next item is presentations and information reports. Do we have anything at this time to bring forward, Carol? No? Okay, we'll move on to public comment. This is where any member of the public can speak to the Planning Commission. Any item they wish, limited to 3 minutes. If you have any comment with respect to items already on the agenda, we ask that you hold back on those until those items come up on the agenda. Is there any member of the public wants to come forward, make a presentation? Seeing none, close the public comment and move on to the regular calendar. First item is approval of Planning Commission minutes from July 10th, 2025 meeting. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I will so move that we approve the minutes.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the July 10th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor say no.
Good evening, Chair and Planning Commission. Holly Owen, Community Development Director for the city. The item in front of you is the City of Kingsburg Housing Element Update. Kingsburg Housing Element is a state-mandated 8-year policy document. It's required, and it's a component of the larger Kingsburg General Plan. The purpose of the housing element is to identify current and projected housing needs, show locations where housing can be built, and set goals, policies, and programs to meet the community's housing needs. Every housing element has policies and programs that must be implemented in order for the housing element to continue to be considered compliant with state requirements, and all housing elements are reviewed and approved by the state. Kingsburg participated in the multi-jurisdictional housing element process initiated in 2022, and that was coordinated by the Fresno Council of Governments. There were 12 other cities involved with that. It's the second time that Kingsburg has participated in that group effort. The first was in 2014. On July 7th, 2024, the city adopted its 6-cycle housing element as part of the multi-jurisdictional housing element update process. Following adoption of the housing element, the city proposed a zoning text amendment based on the program requirements contained in the adopted housing element, which the city council considered on December 4th, 2024. At this meeting, the community voiced its concern over proposed increase in the minimum allowable density for 4 of the sites contained in the housing element sites inventory that would be amended as part of the proposed zoning text changes. City Council adopted the zoning text amendments, but did not include those text changes that would have increased the minimum allowable density on those 4 sites. Since December 2024, council direction to staff resulted in communication with California Department of Housing and Community Development representatives and our housing element consultants who are here tonight, Wyatt Jasinski and Sarah Allender from Provo and Pritchard, to craft alternative options to the housing element requirements that would satisfy the community while also meeting the requirements of HCD for a completed housing element, keeping the city in compliance with state housing element law. In working with HCD, the alternative chosen by council was the amendment of the city's adopted housing element to revise the site's inventory and address the concerns of the community while remaining compliant with state housing element law. After working to amend the housing element since December of 2024, the city submitted an amended version to HCD for review on June 26, 2025. In order to remove the requirement to increase the zoning density of select parcels identified in the adopted housing element sites inventory, 3 sites have been removed from the adopted sites inventory, while 13 new sites have been added to the sites inventory in the amended housing element that's proposed for adoption. As proposed, the amended housing element maintains the city's ability to meet its regional housing needs allocation, or RHNA numbers. Now, there's a required noticing and posting process with this document. Prior to sending the amended housing element to HCD for review, the city posted the amendment document on the city's website for public review on June 18th and notified a list of stakeholders who were originally notified of the adopted housing element as part of the multi-jurisdictional housing element update process. The public posting was available for at least 7 days, which met the state's noticing public posting requirements for such documents. On August 19th, 2025, HCD sent a determination letter to the city, finding that after HCD's review, the city's amended housing element would be compliant with state housing element law as proposed. The city must now adopt a resolution amending its general plan to formally adopt the amendments to the housing element, and that's proposed as General Plan Amendment number 2025-01. That amendment is consistent with the Kingsburg General Plan Environmental Impact Report and its subsequent addendum adopted as part of the originally adopted housing element. As a result, General Plan Amendment 2025-01 would be absolved of further environmental analysis pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections 15183. Planning Commission is the recommending body for general plan amendments. As a result, the Commission should adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council take a particular action on General Plan Amendment 2025-01 and determine whether to find such action consistent with the city's General Plan Environmental Impact Report and its subsequent addendum. So the recommended action, again, is that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution, your own resolution 2025-03, recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution adopting General Plan Amendment 2025-01 and finding that such action is consistent with the City of Kingsburg General Plan Environmental Impact Report and subsequent addendum pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15183. This concludes my staff report. I'm available to answer any questions you might have on this process or on the housing element, but I'm particularly grateful for the fact that we have consultants here who can jump in and clarify some of maybe the more detailed questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. So next item is to open a public hearing on this issue, which I'll do now. So I'm going to open the public hearing on the housing element update. I think we can skip item B, presentation by the Community Development Director. She's already given her presentation. And take it to commission discussion. Does the commission have any Any questions?
So what this basically involves, Holly, is those four parcels that we had originally set up, and based on the public outcry and so forth, we changed it, or, looked for alternatives.
We reviewed the sites inventory. We went through the city again and looked at individual parcels and completed an analysis that removed three of the four to out of consideration, and then substituted other parcels that met the requirements. And a lot of that was about sort of the numbers and the mathematics of how to get back to the number that we needed. And so those 3 out of 4 parcels are no longer in the housing element.
So I saw 13 parcels have been added.
Yes.
So those are on the outskirts of Kingsburg, or where are they located?
I think Wyatt can answer those, but those are in the highway commercial and central commercial area for the most
Okay.
part.
Chair, members of the commission, the 13 parcels that got added to the site's inventory are primarily located within a highway commercial area to the west of the city, western part of the city, and in the areas located more towards the downtown. Those are community commercial or form-based code. So some of them are on the west side of the city, and some are more concentrated towards downtown.
Why do we have 13? Are we equaling land mass, or are we just 13 parcels you wanted to designate as future needs?
The city has a unit requirement under, it's called your RENA requirement, where the city needs to provide a certain amount of units towards its total allocation for 3 income levels. That's low, moderate, and above moderate. The 4 parcels in question that were a point of concern for the original housing element, 3 of those were completely removed. One of them, the requirement to increase the minimum allowable density was removed. That site is still within the site's inventory, but it's listed under its already existing zoning designation. So the density requirement is the same now as it would be if it were to be developed under the city's adopted zoning ordinance.
Any other discussion or questions from the commission? All right. I'm going to open the public comment section. At this time, if there's any member of the public who wants to come forward and ask questions or make any comments, now is the time to do it. Not seeing anybody interested in taking advantage of that opportunity, and then I will go ahead and close public comment, come back to continued commission discussion, and invite our 2 guests if they have any other things you want to talk about or comments. Now would be a good time to do it. Commission, have any other questions? It's a pretty straightforward item. Okay, no more commission discussion. We will close the public hearing, and we will move on to actions recommended by the city staff. And the first action is to adopt resolution number 2025-03.
I so move that we adopt the resolution 2025-03, recommending the city council to adopt a resolution containing general plan amendment number 2025-01, and finding that such action is consistent with the City of Kingsburg General Plan Environmental Impact Report and subsequent addendum pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15183.
So we have a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second? Okay. Any more discussion or amendments at this time? Yeah, since we have a second. No discussion, no amendments. All in favor of adopting this resolution 2025-03, say aye. Opposed, say no. Therefore, the resolution Planning Commission recommending the City Council the adoption of General Plan Amendment 2025-01 is carried. And next item on the agenda, future agenda items.
Thank you, Chair Cooper and Commission. And thank you also for your consideration and your review of the housing element. I just wanted to say that, to take this opportunity to say that it was a longer road than we had expected, but we benefited greatly from some advice from people who had been there before and helped us navigate that. The city manager was also very involved too. So we got to the answer that I think we wanted and we have a certified housing element and a lot of programs and policies that I have to keep track of for the next 8 years. So I wanted to thank you for that. I will say that I would like to begin the process of looking at objective standards, especially for multifamily housing, but also for accessory dwelling units. We are in a situation with legislation coming from the state that we are allowed to consider objective standards when it comes to approving projects. But anything that may be viewed as subjective would not be allowed. Who keeps track of that is kind of an interesting concept, but it has been advised for all cities and counties to adopt a set of objective standards. So I've had some help in getting some of those drafted, and I would like to open up that conversation with you in sort of a workshop format for the next meeting, and then with those ideas we can sort of narrow down that list and have that as a standalone document that we can use to refer to when projects are come into the city for consideration. So that's something to look forward to.
So it would be limited, I guess, to what, ADUs,
Multifamily,
multifamily.
accessory dwelling units. I think you could make it a little bit broader, but I think it just concerns residential use that I know of.
So
So
it's not going to include any action to change the North Kingsburg specific plans.
no, I think in fact, I think it will parallel many of that document's intentions, but that the work is on me to look at that and compare what they're recommending to what might be considered objective standards, and probably work with the city attorney too to make sure that the list I've come up with is actually meets that criteria. So
Okay. That's a great idea.
thank you. That concludes any future agenda items. We do have a general plan update that's coming to you shortly. That will be scheduled to come to you in November. That's pretty exciting conclusion to that process too. Remember, it's been 30 years since we've had a general plan update. So yeah, I think you'll like what you see in that too. So we'll make sure that you get plenty of time to review that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, entertain a motion to adjourn the regular planning commission meeting. Second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Thank you, Holly.